Welcome to our season of commitment. This year's theme is Faith Beyond the Building. There's always more to the story. Each week you'll hear from members and our Abbey partners who share their stories, laced with love and gratitude for all of St. Thomas's community efforts.
Reasons that I love St. Thomas. Most of them I can leave for another time. But one thing I want to say is that it's not boring. I know that you're not supposed to come to church to be entertained. You're not supposed to come for solace only. And certainly I don't need to be entertained, so to speak. But I need to be challenged. I need to have my ideas challenged. And I need to be in a community that when I present a challenge, I'm not looked down on, but I'm accepted. And that's St. Thomas for me. I need to understand about the Bible from the point of view of how it was written for people who were tradesmen or fishermen or illiterates. And so the Bible had to be, the stories that are reflected in the Bible had to be written for them. I need somebody who can bring those stories alive today and tell me what it means. We're fortunate to have a priest that can bring these stories to life, that can bring the old stories the way they were told for people in ways they can understand them and make them understandable to people like me. So I'm happy to be in this family of St. Thomas, where, as Robin Williams once said, you don't have to leave your brain at the door, which when I first heard it, I was shocked because I thought that might be down-putting for some other folks. But to me, it resonated because it means you're accepted the way you are with your challenges and your ability to challenge. And that's why I love St. Thomas.
Thank you to St. Thomas, to Priest Beth Turner, and to the entire Episcopalian Diocese. I'm very glad at this opportunity to thank you all for the help you have given the Yancey County Volunteer Mass Makers. I am Joy Booth. I started and have been the coordinator for the Yancey Volunteer Mass Makers since March. And to date, we've sewn over 16,000 masks. And we were at a point where we literally did not have any funds, and our funds have been donated to buy the material we needed to respond to a need for sewing masks for all of the elementary school children in Yancey County, pre-K through 5th. And it was because of your generous donations that we were able to keep sewing. And sadly, we do have COVID in our school system now. And I know with all my heart that the work that all of our mass makers are doing and partnerships with people like you, that we are saving lives. So right now we're using your money we have purchased the children's print cloth that we need, and we'll be providing another mask for the teachers to have on hand for the pre-K through 5th at all the elementary schools. I have long loved St. Thomas. I would go to events even before the new building here was made. And what I have always appreciated about Episcopalians, and in particular about Priest Beth and this church, is they take church outside of the walls. They build community. They bring people together around food and fun and fellowship. And speaking of food, I so admire the contributions to our Yancey Dig-In Gardens that has provided fresh vegetables all summer to people in need. I just appreciate not only do they give to the least of these, providing food, shelter, education for the Latino community on how to stay safe, how to vote, other things, but they also bring us together just to know each other across political and religious affiliations. whether it's just to have a meal together in this beautiful sanctuary or to join our efforts, for instance, in the parenting skills classes that Priest Beth has begun. So again, thank you. Know that due to your generous contributions that many school children in Yancey County will be able to have the mask they need to wear to school. Thank you, and we will get through this pandemic. Thank you.
Hello, this is your treasurer, Philip Smelser, coming to you with a short report on the financial condition of St. Thomas. I hope you are all well and staying safe. You will see on this chart, the first bar graph showed the budgeted revenue that we came into 2020 innocently expecting another great year, and that was almost $120,000 we had every reason to believe. That was totally realistic. The next bar shows the revenue as it would have been year to date, almost $90,000. In fact, due to the, shall we say, challenges that we've been faced with, the last bar shows the actual revenue, which you might notice is actually not that far off the year-to-date budgeted revenue. There are some reasons for that, which we'll get into. Arguably, the next slide shows one of the biggest hits that we have been taking financially is plate income. As you can see by the lower blue line, we had in past years budgeted $8,000, $10,000, when we were bringing in closer to $32,000 and $33,000. So we decided to step up and be more confident and budget $20,000. And of course, things changed, and we are more like $3,700. It's awful hard to pass a plate effectively in an empty church building. However, there are funds that have come in from various sources to partially offset this change. Regarding the expenses, we were budgeting about $126,400. Actual year-to-date would have been $94,866, but the actual expenses year-to-date are $86,600. Obviously, a church building that is not being used and bulletins that are not being printed, etc., really cuts down on the expense of running our church. So, in fact, next slide shows that while the church has been, you might say, dormant, we certainly have not been inactive. The mission of the church, of course, is outreach, and we were budgeting about $6,700 for outreach. Our actual outreach out of our operating funds is pretty close to that, $6,484. That's pretty amazing. So although the church has been subdued in its outer activity, the outreach has not stopped. We are continuing to thrive in the community. And furthermore, the total dispersed funds is actually almost $14,000. Now you may ask, well, where did that money come from? In fact, we have been invested in several institutions here. You'll notice the first, $5,000 from the Tulsa Foundation for food security. That has put a lot of food into a lot of mouths. About $2,500 from the Grace Episcopal Church Foundation, specifically for website technology upgrades to keep us connected during the pandemic. About $3,500 from the Austin Foundation for the Yancey County Volunteer Mask Makers and our new website. And then finally, $5,750 from the Diocesan Justice and Outreach Ministry of Western North Carolina for mask makers, parish communications in the form of weekly care packages, and the porch conversations that have been produced. There's another one on the way. So what you're seeing is investments in our church. Some might see these on the face of it as handouts, but in fact, they are investments. No one gives money to a sinking ship, and we were entrusted with these funds because it was well known that we would put them to good use effectively. So I'm very proud of that. And of course, your intrepid priest, Beth Turner, is the driving force behind these grants. She is a wizard. So in my mind, all this makes me think of daffodils coming up through snowdrifts in the spring. They were there the whole time, getting ready to burst forth, despite the fact that harsh winds and cold snow make everything look bleak. So we're coming forth, as before you know it, we will be wondering what in the heck we're going to bring to Feast of Friends like the old days. We will be together again. And thanks to all the folks that were able to keep their pledges up during this tough time, and other generous gifts from all the other institutions I mentioned. We're certainly not rolling in the dough, but we're certainly not failing in our mission to provide outreach, food relief, other types of ministry to the community. You have every reason to be proud, and I look forward to seeing you all in the church building soon.
Hi, everybody at St. Thomas. Martin and I thank you for inviting us to be with you in this part of your campaign component of your stewardship drive. And I'm especially grateful because I have known and loved you for many years, and such a privilege to serve with you all this time. And in those years, there are two things I've learned. God has a plan for St. Thomas in Burnsville, and you have all you need to accomplish that plan. And what you don't have, God will provide, as already has happened, sometimes from out of nowhere. So Martin and I are going to talk to you about understanding your budget as a means of serving through your ministry, and not as a balance sheet or a profit and loss statement for your church business. So Martin?
Yeah, thank you, Valerie. Ever since Ollie and I began working with you, we have known that at the core of St. Thomas is your commitment to serve each other and to serve those in your corner of God's kingdom. St. Thomas is a witness to the generosity of God. It's who you are as a parish. You exist to serve your community with gratitude and generosity. This year, your leadership team has allocated your resources and expenditures in terms of St. Thomas's 4 core ministries: the ministry of worship, the ministry of justice and outreach, the ministry of pastoral care, and last but by no means least, the ministry of Christian formation and education. Your leadership thought you might like to see where and how your financial support serves and supports your ministries. We know they will deeply appreciate your enthusiastic and generous participation to fund these ministries in 2021.
As Martin and I have often said, we are a church. We have business that we do, but we are a church first and foremost. And this matters, looking at our budget as a ministry budget, because God has a plan, and because you have been chosen by God to accomplish your portion of that plan. So we bless you, and we offer our continuing prayers for you, and we ask that you keep us posted. We are here to serve you.